full moon will be happening on the sign of Capricorn on the 21st of June, and in my opinion, oh my goodness, this one is going to be an intense one, because it may bring back in a cluster all those themes that we have been working with and working through all the 18 years that Pluto has been in Capricorn. And this may happen through the major awakening of an old wound, something that you thought you have already worked through, overcome, and this may be triggered during this time and get back in order for you to have one more chance to see it from a different perspective or to achieve some kind of conclusion about those themes. I'm not gonna lie, this energy can be so intense that you may find yourself back into that energy in which you have been in the past, and you may be even tempted or dragged to repeating certain patterns of behavior that you have already evolved from. However, now you are aware of those things, and even though this energy can be somehow intense and many times almost defeating, you now have the awareness to pull yourself back from that place and to find different ways to deal with this energy. This is also no coincidence, as Pluto now is getting ready to get back to Capricorn one last time for 2 months, to get out of Capricorn once and for good, to never to return again in our lifetime. So these are good news, isn't it? Well, but get ready, my friend. This is that last push that we all will have to do, and this full moon may just be a major activation of that. So now let's get deeper into the significations of this full moon that will be happening on the 21st of June in the sign of Capricorn. And let's uncover how this full moon will be affecting you and what are the major themes that you may expect to have to work with during this time. Full moons are times of great tension and upheaval, and you may feel very indecisive during this time and confused. You may find yourself jigsawing between one decision and another, even when you already made a decision. You may also have a lot of mood swings and go through periods in which you feel all very hyped and excited or very down, low and drained. It's very important that you pay attention to your body, to your needs, to your health during this period, because you may be more vulnerable now to energetic attacks, to infection, to disease. Overall, most of us may feel like we are fighting against something that we need to understand, incorporate, or cut out of our life. This may actually feel like a real opposition. You may feel like somebody in your life is against you. It can be someone from your family, it can be somebody from your work, it can be a loved one or a lover. You can feel like you are actually against yourself, because one of the major themes that may also come up for many people is the realization that they may be self-sabotaging. And self-sabotaging is happening when you are against yourself, when you have a conscious egoic drive, but your subconscious mind wants something different, and you're not really aware of it. So you are trying to go in one direction, but you find yourself walking to another one, because your subconscious mind is driving you in another direction. Your subconscious mind is saying, I do not want you to go there. So you will have to sit with yourself and try to understand what is that you have buried inside yourself that is stopping you from moving in the direction you want, that is sabotaging you, that is hijacking you. You may actually feel like malignant forces or dark entities or demons are trying to get attached to you and are trying to drag you back into a old wound and a old toxic energy. You may feel like you're literally being tested and tempted by hell. And yes, maybe I'm exaggerating, but just warning you, for warn is forearmed, and I want you to stay safe and to stay prepared. This may feel like an actual demonic or energetic attack on your energy if you have a 12th house in displacement. So you will have to pull up from your energy and your core to bring yourself back into the most light and the most positive energy. and it may be a challenge. So be prepared, have some techniques at hand, prayers, chants, meditation, do yoga, drink a lot of water. If you have to take medicine and if you feel sick, take it. Don't just rely on just spirituality. That's from my experience. Sometimes the body needs much more than spirituality in order to get healed. Sometimes you need an actual doctor. Okay? The way I like to go about my readings, I like to look first into the dark side of the signs, into these much negative aspects, as usually with the opposition forces. These are the major themes that come into our attention in order for us to work with first, and then we can then look at the positive significations of the signs to find solutions, remedies, and ways to work with the energy. So Capricorn, what is the most unevolved characteristics that the Capricorns as signs can portray, in my opinion? For example, Capricorns as a sign, they many times can place work, worldly responsibilities, career, reputation above their own needs, in a sense that they will ignore their own needs, they will ignore their own feelings, just in order to achieve some career goal or in order to keep a reputation. And in this process, they may even sacrifice their own identity, individuality, and force themselves to use a mask, a fake persona, a facade, in which they are not expressing their true authentic self. They just portraying what is socially considered successful or acceptable in order to succeed. So they will have the tendency to shove down their feelings, their emotions, to go against their own values, to go against their own morals, in order to appease and appeal the status quo. They may enforce and use the law and use the power structures to enforce rules, to enforce politics, to enforce behaviors on others on behalf of this career or this reputation, when they themselves may not even believe in those values or be completely against them. So it is a very negative trait, because the individual will be in conflict with themselves. They will be almost raping themselves in this process. And the worst about it is that the individual may become so self-brainwashed that they may even not notice that they are doing it at a certain point. It may just become a way of pattern of behavior. You need to check with yourself to see if you are in balance with your energy between your worldly pursuits and your needs, or the needs of somebody very close in your life. Because if this is an imbalance, you may feel drained, you may feel tired, you may feel overwhelmed, you may feel energetically raped during this period. And now let's look at Cancer to understand the positive traits of Cancer, to understand how Cancer energy in its high vibration, in its positive traits, can help us heal the Capricorn most negative traits. So Cancers at its higher vibration are known to be the people who take responsibility for their own emotional safety and security. It can be a very nurturing sign, a sign that not just know how to nurture, how to heal, how to develop self-love for itself, but it also, in a most evolved state, it becomes the healer, the nurturer, the provider for other people. And it's a sign that is very, very in touch with its emotions. A sign that will pull back from work, from worldly responsibilities, if needed, to spend some time alone or to spend some time with loved ones, if this is what its energy is asking. So basically, these are the characteristics that we can look into if you're feeling like you have not been respecting your energy and you have been overworking yourself. And in the end of the day, it's not about choosing one aspect over the other. We all need to work, we all have to pay the bills, and for some of us, unfortunately, it is not possible for us to run away from our responsibilities because we have to put food on our table. But it's about finding that space to give yourself that time, that nurture. Even if it's just a few hours during the day, a time for you to sit with yourself, for you to listen to your energy, to listen to what you really need, and to allow space in your life for you to be more honest, more authentic, and to let your authentic and true self express. So now that we have looked at the negative aspects of Capricorn and how Cancer energy in its higher vibration can help us to heal this energy, let's look at the opposite sign, and that is Cancer in its lower vibration. And I know what you think, oh, Cancers probably don't have a negative dark side. Once again, we are not stereotyping. No Cancer is a complete Cancer, and people who are from the sign of Cancer has Cancer only in the first house, not in the other houses. In the other houses, they have other signs. So they are a collection of characteristics, okay? So we're speaking about an archetype. And now we're going to speak about, in my opinion, what is most unevolved, most negative sign that a Cancer person can express. And surprise, surprise, in my opinion, I think that unevolved Cancer can be one of the worst negative aspects from a sign that you will have to witness. And why do I say that? Well, one of the most negative signs of Cancer, when it's unevolved especially, is to hold eternal, almost eternal grudges. In the sense that if you hurt this person once, they will remember for the rest of their life, no matter what you do, no matter if you apologize, no matter if you're trying to make it up to them or you're trying to change, they will hold an eternal grudge and they will feed on that energy and not let it go. Just like the claws of the Cancer. They will grab onto it and they will not let go. And at the same time, they will grab onto people and they will not let go. While the Scorpion energy in the most unevolved situation is, just to compare, Scorpios are known in its unevolved state to be vindictive. Scorpios will be vindictive and move on or cut you out from their life. But Cancers, they will have the tendency to grab onto people that hurt them, grab onto people that abuse them. And once they grab onto these people, they will continuously engage in passive-aggressive behavior and continuous attack to that person. Even when the person is already defeated and saying, I apologize, I just want to be better, it will not stop, because they will want to feed on that energy like forever until that person eventually run away from them. This is how negative and toxic this Cancerian energy in its negative trait can go. So pay attention to that in your life. Where are you holding on to an eternal grudge? A grudge that is old, that coming from past years, from things that should have been overcome by now, but you keep on dwelling on that energy. You keep on going after the people that harm you, that hurt you. It can be somebody in your family, because Cancer is very connected to family. So I'm not surprised that many of us will have these issues coming out in family or in close love relationships. It's just that tendency to grab onto those people and to keep on going after them and blaming them and blaming them, accusing them, or constantly trying to hold them accountable over and over for something that happened long time ago, and reliving that, or in other way, stay in a relationship with somebody that you know that can never love you back or can never satisfy you, or somebody who is narcissistic and toxic, who will repeatedly hurt you and disappoint you. And once you're disappointed, you're back into that place of demanding apologies and getting angry and getting this grudge awakened. You know, it's just like being a self-masochist and keeping yourself in a relationship, either because you want to get revenge and punish that person forever, either because you cannot just move away from somebody that is narcissistic and toxic, and you always hoping that they will change and hoping that they will get better, and they never get better, and you're constantly in that loop. So, or it's just an attachment to a negative emotion. You have been hurt in the past and you cannot get over it. You cannot forget that pain. You cannot forget that somebody did that to you, and you keep on playing out in this grudge in other relationships in your life. And these relationships and every new person that comes is still reflecting that pain back to you. And even if this person is different from a person in the past, the way you behave may self-sabotage you and self-sabotage that new person in order to turn that into exactly the most thing that you fear. With your fears, you may end up triggering this behavior in this new person who is completely different and who would not have hurted you in the first place, unless you would not be starting to trigger that person in this way. I don't know if that makes sense. So how can we heal these most negative traits of Cancer energy? To do that, we're going to look again at the opposite sign, that is Capricorn, and its positive traits. And one of the most positive traits of Capricorn in its high vibration, it's emotional maturity. Emotional maturity. The fact that Capricorn is the sign that is supported by the planetary energy of Saturn. It has to do with responsibility, with hard work, with staying focused on what is really meaningful in life and not waste time with things that are petty or too insignificant or unnecessarily emotionally intense. It's having that emotional maturity, that strength, that endurance to take the punches from life, to swallow up some frogs, and just to stay focused on what truly matters, and not waste time in unnecessarily emotional drama or be crying like a little child that somebody didn't give you something or somebody owns you something, and staying stuck in that energy. So in order to heal Cancerian grudges, we need to look at Capricornian sign and see how that sign behaves, and try to focus on becoming more emotionally mature, and to try to look at where we have our pains and ask ourselves, does this really matter? Is this really important? How are these feelings, how are the attachments to these feelings helping me? Is this helping me evolve? Is this helping me grow? So these are the major themes to do with the signs aspects themselves that you may expect to be addressing during this full moon. And this healing process may help you to close a door or finish and end a hurdle that maybe have been plaguing you for a long time. These are my wishes for this full moon, my friends. And as always, love yourself. In my opinion, self-love is one of the most powerful weapons we may have against any dark forces in this world.